Think about the most successful person you can imagine. A billionaire CEO, a legendary investor, a world-famous artist. Now ask yourself a difficult question. How much of that person's incredible success was due to their unique genius, their relentless hard work, and their brilliant decisions? And how much was just dumb luck? It's an uncomfortable question because our entire culture is built on the myth of the self-made hero. We crave clean narratives. We write books and make movies about individuals who, through sheer force of will, overcame every obstacle and achieved greatness. We attribute every victory to skill and every failure to a lack of it. But this clean story is a comforting lie. The reality is much messier, more random, and far more humbling. Because behind every great success, you will find a shadow partner that no one likes to talk about: luck. Today we are going to explore one of the most fundamental truths from Morgan Housel, the psychology of money, the inseparable, identical twin nature of luck and risk, and how internalizing this reality can make you a better investor and a more compassionate human being. To understand this, we need to travel back to 1968 to a small private school in Seattle called Lakeside. Lakeside School did something that almost no other high school in the world could do at the time. It got its students access to a computer. This wasn't a personal computer. Those didn't exist yet. This was a complex, expensive time-sharing terminal, acquired through a series of fortunate events and donations. For a teenager in 1968, having unlimited access to this machine was a one-in-a-million event. One of the students who fell in love with this computer was a young man named Bill Gates. Another was his close friend, Kent Evans. They were both brilliant, both fascinated by the possibilities of programming, and both spent countless hours learning on this incredibly rare machine. They dreamed of changing the world together. We all know what happened to Bill Gates. His one-in-a-million lucky break of having early computer access formed the foundation of Microsoft and one of the greatest fortunes in history. But what happened to Kent Evans? Morgan Housel tells his story. Before he even graduated from high school, Kent died in a freak mountaineering accident. He experienced a one-in-a-million risk. This single story holds the entire lesson. Bill Gates experienced an extreme, positive tail event: luck. Kent Evans experienced an extreme negative tail event: risk. They are two sides of the same coin. Both luck and risk are the reality that outcomes in our lives are constantly being guided by forces other than individual effort. The problem is that our brains have a very hard time processing this. We are narrative-seeking creatures. We need stories with clear cause and effect. So, when we look at success, we create a story of genius and hard work. When we look at failure, we create a story of laziness and bad decisions. We systematically underestimate the role of randomness in shaping outcomes. This leads to dangerous psychological biases. When we succeed, we tend to attribute it to our own skill and intelligence. When we fail, we blame bad luck or external factors. This is called the self-serving bias. But when we look at others, we do the exact opposite. We see someone else's success and think, wow, they got lucky. We see their failure and think, well, they must have made a mistake. We don't give them the same grace we give ourselves. The danger of idolizing specific individuals, like Bill Gates, Elon Musk, or Warren Buffett, is that we are trying to emulate their specific outcomes without being able to replicate their specific luck. The more extreme and noteworthy the success story, the more likely it is that an extreme and noteworthy dose of luck played a role. You can't learn how to have Bill Gates' once-in-a-generation access to a computer. You can't learn how to be born at the exact right moment in history for your particular skills to flourish. Trying to perfectly replicate someone else's path is a recipe for frustration because their path is not available to you. So what is the solution? If we can't control luck and risk, what should we do? The answer is to stop focusing on specific individuals and start focusing on broad, repeatable patterns. Instead of trying to be the next Warren Buffett, study the broad patterns of successful long-term investors. What do they have in common? Patience, a long-term time horizon, a consistent savings habit, emotional control during downturns, humility. These are the things you can control and emulate. Warren Buffett's specific life path is not repeatable. His behavioral patterns are.
Instead of trying to start the next Microsoft, study the broad patterns of successful entrepreneurs. They are resilient in the face of failure. They have a deep understanding of their customers' needs. They know how to build a good team. These are the tangible lessons. Focusing on patterns rather than people frees you from the tyranny of comparison. It allows you to build a strategy based on timeless principles, not on trying to win a lottery that someone else has already won.
How do you apply this humbling mindset to your own life? First, practice humility in your successes. When things go well for you, you get a promotion, an investment pays off. Take a moment to celebrate your hard work, but also acknowledge the role that luck may have played. Perhaps it was a supportive boss, a chance meeting, or just being in the right industry at the right time. This humility is not about diminishing your accomplishments. It's a shield against the dangerous overconfidence that leads to ruin. Second, practice forgiveness in your failures. When you make a mistake or something goes wrong, don't let it define you. Acknowledge that risk is an ever-present part of life. A good decision can lead to a bad outcome simply because the dice didn't roll your way. Learn what you can from the experience, but don't let it paralyze you from trying again. You might have just been on the unlucky side of a good bet. And third, and most importantly, build a large room for error in your life. Since you cannot control luck and you cannot eliminate risk, you must build a life that can survive them. The only way to deal with a world governed by randomness is to become as resilient and unbreakable as possible. In finance, this means having a healthy emergency fund. It means diversifying your investments so that the failure of any single one won't wipe you out. It means avoiding high levels of debt that leave you fragile and without options when bad luck inevitably strikes. Your room for error is what allows you to endure risk and stay in the game long enough for luck to eventually find you. Life is not a clean spreadsheet where input A plus input B always equals outcome C. It is a messy, beautiful, and often random storm. You cannot control the winds of luck and risk, but you can absolutely control the quality of your ship. So, focus less on judging your own and others' specific successes and failures. Focus more on building a robust, repeatable process in your own life. This humility, this perspective, is the true path to long-term resilience, success, and most importantly, peace of mind.